75, right? I hope so, because this is episode 74 of the Gundam
73.
Explained, 73 of the Gundam Explained podcast. Adam Blue here, joining me as always. Steven, good to see you, Steven.
Thank you, sir.
Even though we were just talking yesterday on your podcast, link in the description, and that was pretty fun. Not only so it was a repair stream, but it was almost Inception because you had to repair something that you were trying to repair. That was pretty exciting.
I love when we're kind of tinkering away at a project, and you and I tend to get a little off in the weeds when we start talking about different topics while we're just kind of carving up some plastic. Honestly, I think that's my favorite description of what we do over on Midnight Hatter. It's just chewing the plastic.
No, I totally agree. I want to expand on that in a minute. But if anyone in the chat can let me know what you think of the audio levels. But yeah, that's a echo and low. Echo. So who's echoing? Is it...
Yeah, Sayla says audio is working great, but I see Neon Wave and Zionic Shadow both say echo. Check my audio. So they're saying that I'm on an echo.
Okay, let me look at that real quick.
Now batting, Mike Piazza.
That should all be working. Unless it's as I figured this out. Yeah, that's what's cool about your stream, because a lot of times for the Gundam Explained podcast, it's like strictly the Gundam stuff, but on yours, if we get into a lot of cool stuff. We were even talking Legos yesterday. I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, you know what? It is not a Gundam Explained podcast without Steven. You sound like you're talking to a football stadium. Why is that? That is totally on me. You know what? I'm gonna double check the Discord thing real quick, because we were doing a share there. I might have...
Yeah, definitely mute me over on Discord, and if there's any studio monitoring going on in the streaming software, I think that might...
Yeah, I tested all this out before we went live, and those MFers... I mean, who am I blaming, really, but myself? But no, that is crazy, because the show isn't about the technical difficulties, but it kind of is.
Yeah, you know, it's like the drink talk over on my show. You know, you and I talk about the different seltzer waters that we're drinking, the different whiskeys that I'm drinking. It's just part of the show, part and parcel of what we do.
It is, but what I'm going to do is, as we do things, guys, I'm going to mess with the audio, so you can say, oh, I can't hear Steven anymore, or I can. So I'm going to hit mute for him somewhere. And then you guys let me know what you're hearing. So anyway, oh yeah. So let me go to the chat first, actually, because there's so many things I want to talk about. I keep forgetting because the movie night's going to happen soon, and so in the Patreon, we're already doing some votes for it, and I think by this weekend I'm going to figure out what it is exactly, and then schedule when we're going to do it. So guys, wait for that, and that's probably going to lead into what our next G-Watch is going to be. Also, and I'm sure if you don't know by now, Zionic Shadow has told you that SD December, and I've actually got this I'm going to build. I might do a video of the build. And, oh, you got the...
We got a little Zaku action here. I've got a little surprise in store for you guys for SD December. See how it goes.
Yeah, okay, so, yeah, I was just looking at the audio, and it was acting... Say something again real quick, Steven.
Oh, check. Can you hear me?
Okay, I got you back on. Yeah, it's so weird. I am so sorry that everyone is experiencing that echo, because I have it for sure this time set up how it's supposed to be. But, I mean, you guys have been cool anyway about it, so...
So it sounds like now I'm just quiet, which I think is probably suitable. Let's be honest. Everyone prefers me to be a little quieter, right? But
Yeah.
hey, I do want to shout out everybody in the chat that's chatting with us. We got Zionic Shadow, we got Robert, we got Lucas Garrett, we got Jedi Sayla, we got Classic Quarter Game Plays, Gundam Wing. We've got all of our favorite, regulars in the chat, and I just want
Yeah.
to say how much I appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot of people in there. Yeah, thanks everyone. Thanks for being here because right now the Game Awards are going on, and actually I would be watching that. In fact, I was almost about to tweet and be like Jeff Keighley, you can't schedule it today at this time. You just can't. But I mean, look, less than 1% of the fraction of followers. So I get it. I get it. But no, anyway.
You might be on par with the Game Awards right now. I mean,
Yeah, that's true. Look at the quality of the people in this chat. It's totally. Oh, Brian Zanchilli saying he got Gundam Evolution on Steam. Well, that's cool, man. Yeah, we'll have to play. That's right. Ian and Neon Wave and Sway, we were all playing. I think last weekend was pretty fun. We got jumped. That's a fun game to just play. So let's see here. Okay. I am going to quickly switch screens. Hopefully that doesn't destroy everything else. Okay, so I want to talk about Lucas Garrett brought up something in the YouTube member section. Was Quest Pariah a cyber new type adopted by Vice Foreign Minister Adenauer Pariah instead of being his biological daughter? Could she be a late model Masamune? So the one thing, to think about is the hair color. I've always associated that, like the kind of the brighter or the blue color associated with the cyber new type, but
True.
It's not like they've ever said that, right? Like the movie has been out for a long time, but you would think, could have that been something done by the more of the shadowy figures within the Earth Federation or Xeon or whatever, where they're trying to people that are in places of power kind of have almost a spy in a way, not unknowingly.
Well, and there's one thing that they never explain actually in the film, and maybe they've touched on this in some of the mangas or some of the supplemental materials, but the way that Char changes her last name from Pariah to Air, and he calls her Quest Air instead of Quest Pariah. So at a certain point, she sheds that identity of being the daughter of Vice Foreign Minister Pariah, and so it's like, well, maybe she was always Quest Air. Or, so there's legitimacy to that theory that she was adopted and not necessarily the biological daughter of.
Yeah, and almost like it was planned that way. Like maybe not to the vice minister. What was his title again? Vice Foreign Minister.
Yeah.
Because I think even in the real world, I could be wrong about this. I think this is true. People that are in leadership positions that are that have eyes on them, I usually think they're more of placeholders for what's really happening. So I would think they would purposely set up something like that, just to have the cyber noob type kind of mix things up in a way. I don't know. That's a good one though. I like that.
Yeah.
Actually, let me jump over to the chat real quick. I want to see. Let's see. Oh, Jedi Sailor saying there was concept art of Quest with brown hair. Okay, that's cool. Interesting that they changed that.
There was also concept art of Camille wearing Gyune's uniform, because Camille was originally supposed to be Char's bodyguard in Char's counterattack.
That's right. Did that kind of spark your video that you made, that what if video?
Exactly. Yeah, that was I saw that art and I was like,
yeah, I gotta do something with it.
All over it.
That reminds me, I saw some art someone had of a Predator with Weyland Yutani armor on.
Oh,
and I was like, that's such a great idea. Yeah, that has to be something. Okay. So, yeah, I got some of the other Patreon. Oh, yeah. So, again, if you want to support the channel, I don't talk about it all the time. I kind of do, but I kind of breeze by it real quickly. There's a YouTube membership, Patreon. It's kind of the same thing, but it allows you to do the movie nights, questions that will be read on air. There's also a way, if you're not a supporter, to send certain types of questions. I'll actually get to that soon, because I think that is more of that's going to go into like the trivia thing I'm trying to put together for some Gundam trivia shows next year. But Brandon Keith, a regular around here. Wow, I get shout outs? Yes, you do, of course. How interesting.
Absolutely.
Thanks. I grew up on RoboJocks. Or Robot Jocks, right? Isn't that the name? I liked it
Yeah,
as a
Robot.
kid, but as an adult, I see it as a guilty pleasure. It's so bad that it's good. I dare you. Play the trailer on the show right now on YouTube. I promise you all, you'll get a good laugh at how absurdly bad the film is. But the functionality of how the robots work and how they've piloted in that film is how a mobile suit should work in live action adaptation. The problem is any change from the anime will piss off the legion of Gundam fans. I say just leave the Gundam film alone and leave it in animation verse. So yeah, I'm not gonna. I was thinking of playing the trailer on here, but now it's like I feel like it's gonna cause some like other destruction on my stream.
There's some racially insensitive bits about that movie too.
Oh,
Because obviously one of like the trainers for the robot jocks refers to one of the other like technicians on the team as a Jap, and like
oh,
they're trying to capture that kind of that World War II era distrust of the Japanese, which is kind of weird because it was the 80s, and he's like, oh, I don't trust this Jap who's tinkering with my machines, and he's always wearing his cowboy hat, and oh man, it's
they were like going hard in that direction, like leaning into like the character,
full on
caricature.
McCarthyism, like.
Oh, and Jedi Sailor is saying, funny how the guy who directed Robot Jocks also directed a bunch of H.P. Lovecraft horror B movies. Oh, Sailor, if you get a chance, not saying you have to do that now, but list some of those. I love Lovecraft stuff. Like, I think what got me into it, I got into Lovecraft late. It was Bloodborne. Like after playing that game Bloodborne on PS4, I was like, I love the look of this. And then people online were saying, oh, this is from Lovecraft. And then I realized, wait, that's the Necronomicon from Evil Dead. Like the whole, and then my mind just like, it was like, oh, Reanimator. Oh, okay. Oh, that's pretty good.
That's some good stuff.
Okay, so yeah, no, good one, thanks. And then also from Brandon, any predictions on what changes will be made for the next 2 Hathaway films from the books? A fan has translated the 3 Hathaway novels that the films are based on from Japanese into English and posted summaries on his blog online. Just use Google and it will be easy to find. I liked Hathaway film number 1, but they need...
Right?
What's that?
Probably Xeonic Scanlations.
Oh, that's right.
Probably
It has to be.
Champ.
Yeah.
Has to be him.
It has to be. Good call out on that. I always forget. I get so much info from that guy.
Yeah.
Let's
He
see.
does
But
so much for the Gundam fandom, and
I know.
I mean,
I
thanklessly.
I feel like he's probably translated 90% of what's out there or something. It's crazy. And
Seriously.
he'll even, and that's actually why I was using Twitter a lot, because his tweets are always very informative, and he's actually a very kind person on Twitter. So it's like,
Yeah.
he
doesn't engage in like the negative side of Twitter. Twitter is literally just his way of saying, "Hey, I just translated the latest, Federation Hooligans manga.
Yeah.
Go read it." That's it.
Yeah. And, really quick, speaking of Twitter, I know I'd talked about here on a few times where it's like I'd see the toxicity and it'd get to me. And then I was talking about how I wasn't using Instagram enough, but I think from you guys mentioning it, I think I'm really going to focus on Instagram, because scrolling, like I stopped scrolling through it because it would always show videos of things that I'm not even like, a lot of it's like dances from like Southeast Asia. Like it would be, and it's like I don't really care, but I think because it's Gundam, it's suggesting it. But that's better than people being mean to people on Twitter. So I'm fully on back into Instagram. I'll be posting more there. But
There you go.
but they need to step up the action in the sequels, improve the... I heard there's going to be more action in the sequels, by the way. Improve the animation detail in the MS battles. And I will say the animation wasn't, like, the best. Right? Didn't it seem like the frames per second, if that's... The frames of animation were a little less than most, but I think it was just such detailed drawings. And then...
I think I liked it a little bit more than Unicorn. I know that's probably blasphemy. But I mean, in Unicorn, the 3D models that you got from the animation, they all felt a little bit floaty. Like
I know what you mean.
there,
Yeah.
there wasn't enough weight behind all of the actions that the mobile suits were taking. But I mean, hey, spoiler alert: when that spent machine gun shell hit the ground and like melted chunks of the forest and hit some bystanders in Hathaway's Flash,
Yeah, that
that
was
was
well done. No, that was well done. But it is interesting when they do, even in Hathaway, when they do any shots that have the CGI, it's like you can tell, and they're trying to match the frames with the frame of the hand-drawn animation. And so I think sometimes it like,
jerky.
yeah, it looks a little rough, but it's like at the same time, it's such a well done story, and the details so well done that. But I get it's funny, you know, when I was first watching Gundam and I would watch the later Gundam like narrative and stuff, I was actually surprised at the quality wasn't what I thought it would be. But I got over that quickly. But anyway, the film assumes that the viewer understands what's going on and implies a lot of things too. The casual viewer watching Hathaway would be confused. The first film felt like a reintroduction to the UC world, but part 2 needs more action, more explanations of things. The only reason why I understand everything because I have read through the translated summaries of the books. In the books, the Federation is portrayed as being the evil bad guys, and they're forcefully pushing unregistered Earthnoids into space colonies, and Hathaway is trying to end the tyranny of the Federation. In the anime, it's more ambiguous. Well, I will say that's actually a takeaway I got from it, especially when, you know, he had that conversation with the taxi driver, and then you see that sort of, what was that Enforcer mobile suit? I forgot the
It's a Jagan like Manhunter type.
Yeah,
like a
that's
Manhunter Jagan.
Yeah, that's right. And I thought that was really neat how they like I wasn't expecting that when I watched Hathaway and that was kind of the story. I was like, okay, that's an interesting way to go. Let's see. Mafty is trying to continue what Neo Zeon was doing under Shar Aznable, but it's not clear how and why. Shar wanted to push all humans into space so that they can become new types. Mafty and Hathaway want that too, but so that the Earth can heal itself to end pollution or whatever. It's not fully made clear what Mafty really wants. Also, they portray Mafty and the Federation as having good and bad people on both sides. They turn Lane Aim into a sympathetic antagonist who's following orders. You can't seem to match Hathaway and always fails. I think they did this so that when he finally defeats Hathaway in the Kasai Gundam in movie 3, there's a payoff for his character arc. He's portrayed as the underdog who triumphs. Also, when the hell did Hathaway become a respected mobile suit ace? Clearly, he had military training at some point, but they don't say it explicitly. He could barely operate a Jagan. I also wonder if they'll change the ending because the novels end on a dark, depressing tone. Mafty loses and Hathaway gets executed in the books. Pretty dark stuff. The promo art for Mafty and Hathaway all have a hopeful, we shall overcome tone. I have a feeling that if he does die, they'll at least try to portray it in an uplifting and meaningful way. So,
By the way, spoilers, guys.
yeah. For in the book, when were the novels written? Was that like 89? I think.
Hathaway's Flash? I
Yeah.
think it was a little later than that. I want to say
like-
it was in the 90s, but
I might be thinking Unicorn or something. Yeah.
all the same.
But that's the thing. Like, I've never bothered looking into it, even though it's been out. Like, there's something I think about books or manga that I don't really actively search for lore as much as I will for an anime. So it's like on one hand, I see what you're saying. They'll probably change some things up, which I looked up the Gustav Karl, and it has more of a Kasai Gundam head in the original design of it. But the Kasai Gundam had more of a Gundam head, and they used the Kasai like they changed that Gundam head for the movie instead of the Gustav Karl. I guess I'm trying to say, which
yeah.
they all look cool. Nothing is, but okay. So one thing I wanted to this is where we talk about him being an ace because that's a good point. We see when he first gets. I guess when he first gets in maybe a weaponized mobile suit in Char's counterattack.
Yeah.
And then we see in Hathaway, he's kind of a badass in a mobile suit. Like he, in terms of he doesn't seem to have that like fear or that like he knows what he's got to do. So I wonder, what did Hathaway then get into between Char's counterattack and Hathaway's Flash?
Because it's what? It's about a
Maybe a
7
decade.
years?
Yeah, 7
Yeah.
years, probably closer to that. Yeah, under a decade.
Yeah, 'cause it's 0093 to 101 is what
Or
years?
maybe it's 5. 105.
If it's one, yeah, I mean, if it's 105, then it's over 10 years.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's kind of the most exciting thing about Hathaway's Flash is that there's this gap that you're like, the last time that we saw Hathaway, he was immature. He was, tied up with his romance with Quest. He was being, you know, rebuked by his father. And now all of a sudden he's on his own. He has no ties to any of the people that he used to associate with. And he has become this sort of, if not a ace pilot, then at least a tactical genius, right? Like he's a
Well, this is a great. Lucas Garrett is saying Hathaway's no ace. He's just a survivor. I think that's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it. And he has a little bit of that new type in him. So,
well, and of course the definition of an ace is if you've shot down 5 mobile suits, right?
Oh,
That's what
yeah.
Bernie tells us.
Bernie
in
tells
0080.
Al. Yeah.
So,
And
so,
it was written in 1990. So that's quite a while it's been around. Yeah, that's quite a while it's been around. I guess I bet they're going to change things from they've done that with all of them. And I bet maybe I'll get around to reading it because I know it's going to be different anyway. And then, yeah, they're saying it's a 12-year gap. Yeah, so in 12 years, then technically he could be an ace if we're going to go by how many kills. Because I'm sure he was up to
Chan
stuff.
count?
The what?
Does Chan count?
Yeah. I mean, wasn't she an ace herself, probably? Or did she really go out and battle? It was mainly just to go save Amuro, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think she was mostly an engineer, so.
Yeah, that's right. No, that's very interesting. So, Brandon, I'm glad that you brought that up because that was a good discussion about Hathaway and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so another one from Brandon. And how far has Steven read into Thunderbolt manga? Can you briefly explain what happens in general? Because if I understand correctly, the 2 films cover up to Volume 7. The main thing I want to see in animation is for Daryl Lorenz to pilot the perfect Gundam, which is the Psycho Zaku Gundam hybrid. That's going to be cool. It looks so much like the RX-78 Gundam. So have you gone through Thunderbolt?
I have. Let me see the last volume that I have. I think it's volume 4.
Okay, because I haven't read any of them, but I actually want to. I always say I'm going to read a manga, and I've done a few. 3.
Volume
Okay.
3 is as far as
Cool.
I've read into Thunderbolt, and I mean it's fantastic as far as Gundam mangas go. The illustration in it is top tier. It's definitely better than Federation Hooligans as far as quality of illustration goes. But yeah, I mean this barely gets into what the animation covers. So I mean if you've watched Bandit Flower, that's that's well past this.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So, yeah, I guess the animation is really just taking certain interesting things and
It leaves a lot out for sure.
because I mean, I thought the story that they were going with was really cool. How it became cultish and how damaging mentally this war was. I love those aspects. And are those similar themes that are throughout the manga?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, it's
That's cool.
Yeah, it's an interesting take on Gundam for sure because it doesn't ring with the same sort of the characters aren't sort of how do I put this? They don't feel doomed to their fates. They definitely seem much more active protagonists compared to
Interesting.
Amuro or Camille or even Char to an extent.
Yeah.
Where they just kind of feel like they're part of a plot instead of active participants in what they're doing.
Oh, I got to get around to that because I always forget to read manga. I read Men Who Created Gundam, loved it. I read it so fast. It's funny how big the books are, yet they're quick reads because it's
fly
pictures.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pictures. That's exactly what I need. But also, I'm almost done with Volume 1 of Origin, and that time I sat down and reading it, I was glued. I think it's because when you go look at the price.
See.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good artwork.
Yeah.
But it's when you go look at the price of these, sometimes it's it can add up.
Mechanics on the back here.
Oh, now
Yeah,
that's
especially-
why I would buy these.
Oh yeah, you get
Quick
the mechanics
reference.
on the back.
Yep.
that's where you go. No, and Origin's a different story because it's hardback, so obviously the price on them is a little bit steeper.
Yeah.
I actually did not read the first 5 chapters of Origin. I only started reading once they got to the 1 Year
White
War.
base.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or 1 Year War in
I was
general.
like, I don't care about all this preamble. I want to see
How they
see the
redo
Gundam.
it. Yeah, that's funny because that's literally what I want to see too. But I'm like, I'll read it. I'll read from the beginning, and I'm never getting around to it. So, let me before I move on real quick. Jedi saying the hardcovers for Origin are heavy. It's like hauling a bag of bricks. That's true.
Yeah.
It is. I have
not gonna
have
go
one
through
back
those
there. Oh yeah. But hardcover better for display. Yeah, depending on where you're displaying it. Yeah.
I was a little disappointed because when I lined them up, I thought that they were going to have one of those, like the spine has like a connecting artwork. Have you ever seen like mangas or comic books where when you put all the
Oh
spines
yeah.
together of all the collection, you get like some massive artwork on the side? And I started putting them together, and I was like, this is not anything.
Where did
It's
that start? What was from our childhood that did that? Maybe VHS tapes.
Yeah, VHS tapes for sure. All of the Dragon Ball Z VHSs, they all had like an image on the side. Heck, even the Pee Wee's Playhouse VHSs
Oh,
had
good
images
call
on the
out
side.
there. Good call out there. Robert saying, where can I get official translated copies of Gundam mangas? Well, those any bookstore. I mean, I think I just walked to Barnes and Noble near me and they had it there.
Or comic book shops.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
mean, the manga section of comic book shops is much bigger than it used to be.
Yeah, that's true. And Zionic Shadow says he's ordered his dad the first 3 volumes for his birthday Christmas gift. Yeah, I remember when you were mentioning that he likes to read and stuff, and yeah, see if
That's
he
awesome.
gets into that. Robert is saying like online. Well, you mean like digital? I don't know.
Yeah,
I have
don't
no
know
idea.
about that. I would check out Xeonic Scanlations.
Yeah, I don't.
And
Those wouldn't
see
be
if,
official, but they would have things that are not even available anywhere. That there's no
Yeah.
other way you could read it. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Oh, from Jedi Sayla. Okay, Adam and Steven, we all know you like Zeta and everything attached to it. So let's take Zeta out of the equation. I'm glad you brought that up because yeah.
Y'all are picking on me.
This even includes Advance of Zeta.
Fight for my life.
Okay, so what are your top 5 mobile suits from any timeline, including manga, video game, Gunpla kits, or top 5 characters?
Ooh.
Well, you know what? Yeah, that might be a multi-episode thing. So let's start with suits and characters. So if it's any timeline, that's actually a pretty good one because I would even say like right now that Darabald from Witch from Mercury is like a really cool design.
sharp. Yeah.
And then I would even say like the Sandrock and even Jedi Sailor you posted, you just built the master grade of, I think that's supposed to be the Endless Waltz version, if I'm not mistaken. I like that. That's a good one.
Rock.
But and then
So
you know
that's
when
2.
it comes to characters, oh, what's that?
I was gonna say that's 2 mobile suits. Or do
Yeah.
you want to mix it up with?
Yeah, no, I was trying to think because I'm gonna think of characters now, and that might help me. And then I was just thinking, well, I like all the characters in Double O a lot, like, but I don't like any of their mobile suits. That's the thing. Like, that's what I love Double O about. It's just a good story. Oh, but you know what? Characters, even Witch from Mercury. It's so crazy how that's like a high school drama in a way, but like. It's so interesting following the characters. Like Ghoul seems to be so like multi-layered. I like how Soletta is like socially awkward as a main character. Like, you know, a lot of times the main character is the one, kind of how you were explaining, like an active participant in a way. But Soletta, you see, she has this reserved nature, so it seems like she's just like a weapon because she doesn't have the social skills, but she can fight.
Which I know a lot of people were kind of turned off by that personality quirk, when the show first started. But as the stories unfolded, it kind of is starting to make sense why Soletta might be like that. Like
Yeah.
maybe she was bred to be like that. And
Hey, well, even I don't know if you saw a recent interview with I guess one of the writers of the show. I forget who it was exactly, but they said it gets like creepy and dark. Like It's really gonna. They first wanted to set it up to make it easy for people to get into, but then it's gonna go crazy. So that might explain her backstory there.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna have to figure out. I will. This is a good task for me, is to find the
good
5
challenge.
for sure. Yeah, that I can think of, because like when I think of all of Gundam, I do like the Master Grade Sandrock, if we're not counting Zeta stuff.
Yeah.
But what about you? What are some of your top that are not Zeta,
All right, so Zeta off the table.
and probably double Zeta too.
Probably, yeah. Well, no double Zeta as well. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna say the Zaku 2 Kai from 0080. I
Oh,
love that
yeah.
design. I love the red
Yeah.
cockpit because it just kind of pops off of the green mobile suit.
Yeah.
And Bernie is a fantastic pilot and just
And
an
character.
all around good guy.
Because yeah, it seems like he's a good guy that just got caught up in something.
And the fact that he took down a Gundam with like these kind of underhanded guerrilla tactics. I'm gonna
Yeah.
throw up some balloons. I'm gonna like sneak up on her with some grenades.
But
He-
what other character had such clear motivation than Bernie? Not only was it was like like he could have just left,
Yeah,
but
he
he
could've
just
bailed.
he just saw the kid Al and what he was gonna experience, like with a nuke, if like in the fact that he
I got
so well done.
goosebumps. just
I know.
thinking
I
about
was
it.
thinking the same thing. The back of the hair on the back of my neck was standing up. But
Okay, number 2 would probably be the Ifrit Nacht,
Oh.
Eric Blanc's mobile suit from 0081. Just another variant of the Ifrit, one of the 8 Ifrits that were made, but it's the sweet purple one. Beautiful. I'm a big fan of the flight type Goof from 8th MS team.
yeah,
Those like
another good one.
of all of the mobile suits I think that you see in the 1 Year War, that one definitely looks the most like I could see that in contemporary combat. Like that looks
Yeah.
very 21st century real type.
And I feel like too that was like Xeon, where before the end of the 1 Year War, they were at the top of their game with, because the Goof was already kind of the offshoot of the Zaku too, and then they got it all
Yeah.
the way to the flight type. Yeah, that's a good one.
So sick. Number 4 would be the Ares from Gundam Wing. I am a huge fan of how all of the Gundam Wing mobile suits, or at least the Oz / Earth Sphere Alliance mobile suits, have that same mono box face.
Yeah.
But with the Ares in particular, they have that same mono box face, but it's like he's wearing a flight helmet, like a jet fighter,
Yep.
and he's got like a gas mask on, like almost like a fighter pilot. That the design of that mobile suit is criminally underrated.
No, it is. I went to look for a model kit when I was watching Wing for the first time. I was like, oh, I need to look for a model kit, and I don't think there was one, or if there was, it was in the '90s and was forgotten about.
Shame. And then, yeah, last but not least, I would say I have a soft spot in my heart for, and don't tell anyone this, the Delta Plus from Unicorn.
Oh, yeah. No, that's a good one.
I think Riddy was an underrated character. He was probably used a little incorrectly for the purposes of the story. And the Delta Plus is such a sweet design. It's a little flat color-wise, but man, I would have loved to see them use the Delta Plus in like a legitimate fight instead of just showing up on the scene and then getting murked by the Banshee.
Yeah, no, that was a good one. Isn't that the one that would be good, like mass produced? Like it looks like you could just see a whole bunch of them, just kind of like, I don't know. It just has that look. And you know what, that reminded me. So if I was gonna call out some other Gundams that's in UC that's not Zeta, that would be in my top 5. I think I would say the Unicorn, but not when it's red. When it has the, wait a minute, which
Ooh,
that's
the
making me
awakened
think
mode,
about Witch from Mercury.
like the green one.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, the green. But now I'm just realizing Witch from Mercury does that same thing. There's the red and then the other color. So the Unicorn Gundam was really, for me, because I built the real grade full armor as my first Gunpla, because I just saw it in the store. I was like, this thing looks sick. And
Because you're a masochist.
yeah, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. But what was interesting was to think of what the RX-78-2 looked like, and to be a Gundam fan, and then to see what the Unicorn looks like that's sick. And like panels like moving and then having light, like that's a really good design. I couldn't appreciate it because I didn't have any beforehand knowledge. And then also throw in the Victory 2.
Oh,
Even though I think I like the V1 better. It's just the V2 with its more the flight stuff going on.
I mean, and the combination variant like transformation is so sweet.
Yeah.
The two-part, which speaking of which, Lucas in chat is saying, and big shout out to this number 2. I completely forgot about it. The GPO3 Stamen, that Gundam,
Yeah.
the Dendrobium, Stamen, and Orcus. That is such a sweet design.
Yeah, and the colors too, because it's almost like it's almost like more white than it has those other colors, so it really gives it a grounded look. I think a realistic look. So yeah, he's saying his top 5: the Atlas, which that's a good one. Yeah, the Stamen, Delta Plus, Blue Destiny Unit 1, and Goof Custom. Yeah, those are good.
I gotta say, I like the Blue Destiny series, if only because I love the ground Gundam, but the asymmetry always hit me wrong. The fact that it has like the Vulcans on one chest and the plate on the other, or the vent, I should say.
It's funny because I like that a lot, but it does throw me off because not a lot of mobile suits have that look. But sometimes you would see that in weaponry. I don't know, like a tank might have some Gatling gun off at the side with the cannon in the middle or something. I don't know.
Yeah, function before form.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, so that is kind of
shadow. I don't have a top 5. I have a top 20. Absolutely.
I know.
I could keep going.
That's why it's kind of a cool question, because when you got to think of 5, it really makes you then think of mobile suits. So that's why that's kind of a fun question. Because we should probably revisit that in a couple months, and I'm sure we're gonna have different things. So that's a good one. But with characters, what are some of your favorite characters in Gundam? Like I was saying, I would say. I mean, I love Amuro, but I almost think that's like unfair. But the 00 characters, it almost remind me of Power Rangers. Like, they're a group of
color coded.
Yeah, they're color coded. But I kind of like how like there was conflict and then they became closer. Like, and that's the difference with Wing. It's like with Wing, I had trouble for a long time really feeling them out. It was just kind of weird, but.
And they never really felt each other out either.
Yeah.
It's like by the end of the show, they don't seem like a cohesive team. Like Duo and Hero are kind of close, like friends. Troa and Katra obviously have their friendship. But the reason that Wu Fei is so easy to switch sides is because like he never connected with any of them.
Yeah, I know. I thought that was interesting. But cool one. That's good.
That's a good one. Thanks, Sayla.
Oh, she did say, P.S., if you're going to include ZZ characters or suits, limit it to 1 each. I'm setting up like this because ZZ picks up me after Zeta. Yeah, exactly. Hey, just trying to close up
I could have snuck in there.
Okay. Well, yeah, then pick one. If you could only pick one double Zeta suit, what would it be?
Oh, for me?
Yeah.
I would say the Gazaum. I know it's kind of an offbeat one, but the Gazaum is pretty sweet. I should probably say the Bawu, but but I felt that one's too obvious.
Yeah, I was gonna say the double Zeta itself, because I just love it's like a beefier Zeta. But
chonky boy,
it's gonna be the At guy, if that's the one. No. Yeah, it was the colorful one that Hammond was in when they were on that. Was it the Moon Colony? And then he was having to fight her, and she was in that weird colored.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was an At guy or a Zegok, but it was one of those.
One of those old 1 Year War ones that just had a crazy color scheme. Yeah, I like that. What's funny? This is gonna sound weird because I know no one likes Double Zeta, but after I watched that episode, I just watched it again. I don't
good.
I don't know what it is. Yeah, there's just I really like Double Zeta, but
yeah.
Okay, this is from
Underrated.
Goose. Hey guys, not sure if you've seen all the wacky Gunpla designs in Japan, where they team up with another company or franchise and do a mashup like the 7-Eleven Gundam or even the Hello Kitty Zaku. My question to you guys is, What companies or franchise would you love to see a mashup with Gundam? Maybe God of War Gundam or Zaku, or maybe even Gundam Explained Hazel or Midnight Hatter Zeta themed? Well, that's yeah. Think about that. You have like the purple, yellow, reds of the Midnight Hatter logo, and like on the shield have
Oh,
yeah,
that'd be pretty sweet looking.
yeah. So with mashups, I think the obvious one would be like Gundam Star Wars, and then have it where it's like a GM, but its flight backpack is like the X-wings. That would be pretty
Oh,
cool.
that's pretty sweet.
And then like I think even with Darth Vader, get like a like almost they did this on purpose in F91. The Denon guy, is that what it was called?
Yeah.
The ones that do have that kind of World War II or World War I looking helmet that's almost Darth Vader like. Like they could probably go a little further with that. Give it a cape, which they sometimes do with that stuff. But
Yeah.
what other franchises could mash up?
I'm trying to think outside of the box on this one because obviously, like 7-Eleven is pretty far outside of the box.
Yeah,
And
that's
I've even
true.
Seen,
That-
I follow a YouTuber out of Singapore that they have a Gundam that's a mashup with like a local energy drink. I think it's like Zolt
Ah.
or something like Jolt or Zolt Cola or something
Oh,
like that.
okay.
I thought it was so funny. I was like, man, I'm about to make a Red Bull Zeta. But so I'm trying to think of like, like maybe a food or, like do we do
Okay.
like a Dave and Buster's Gundam
Well,
or like a
oh yeah. You actually gave me an idea. Actually, a couple popped up because you're talking about thinking outside the box. Like, I love the aesthetic of synthwave music, and that's why I came up with like that Gundam neon idea. So, like, just having a sort of a mobile suit that just gives off those neon vibes. I don't know. It's like you can hear synths just looking at it.
I dig that.
But also something because again, this almost goes to music. Like, I love metal. I love extreme metal music. So some sort of Gundam that just I don't know. It would have a look of maybe I really like black metal. They tend to do like the white face paint with like the black around the eyes. So maybe something where you have an evil looking Gundam or something. I
It
don't
would have to
know.
be Death Scythe.
Yeah.
That
Start
would
with
fit
that and kind of
perfectly.
add to it. Yeah, that's yeah. I'm trying to think of
Um,
any other. I'm looking. Oh, here we go.
I think sporting franchises obviously is
What is?
a good place to go to. Like sporting franchises, like if you had
Oh
like
yeah.
a New York Yankees Gundam that had like the pinstripe finish on it, or you had like a
Oh, that's a good
Dallas
idea.
Cowboys that has like the star, that kind of stuff would be
And then
that'd
that
be
would be the next G Gundam show. It wouldn't be countries, it would be like the corporations and their their brands would have their own. Yeah, their brands would have their own. Like the Wayland Utani. Because I was just getting my little Predator here. I just got the Mezco Predator. But yeah, Wayland Utani mobile suit.
There you go.
That would
Wayne
be.
Utani.
And it would have canisters on the hips it could launch that have face huggers. So it would like attack like their enemies with like face huggers to yeah, that'd be pretty cool. That's a good one. Let's see. And then Xeonic Shadow was saying something about doing Maxter Gundam in New York Giant colors with decals. I guess that makes sense.
Bro, if you do that, I will print the Giants color. I will print the Giants decals for you because I'm all big blue.
Huh. And then he even said Gundam X Kiss. That's pretty good. Final
That would be a good
Fantasy.
one.
Gundam Barbados. Eminem Sharzaku too. You must love M&Ms, Robert.
Oh yeah.
Food based Gundam. That sounds like something Weird Al would come up with. Gundam and Cyberpunk. This is what Jada Sela is saying. Gundam and Cyberpunk. Ewan would like that. Yeah, because Ian recently, like Ian's into Cyberpunk stuff, and he even
He is.
did a whole cosplay thing. He even had some artwork done, some AI artwork done, where it looks like he's. So if you like, there's a link in the description for Nonstop Collectors, and on his Instagram, he has some cool pictures of him in Cyberpunk stuff.
Yeah, and is it just me or like I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but is Cinnamon Toast Crunch like everywhere right now? Because like there's Cinnamon Toast Crunch popcorn, Cinnamon Toast Crunch cake mix, Cinnamon
That's
Toast
right.
Crunch
Um, pancake.
seasoning,
Yeah, I saw.
pancakes. Where's the
that's
Cinnamon
amazing,
Toast
though.
Crunch Gundam?
It Oh, I see where you're going. I was just getting hungry, but I see where you're going now. Yeah, that's a good idea. Cinnamon Toast Crunch Gundam. Now, that's got. I know this isn't about cereal, but that's got to be one of the best cereals ever.
I'm pretty sure it's my favorite cereal.
Yeah.
I mean, and
Yeah.
and I think that, I mean, can we get like a CT Crunch in the chat from everybody who agrees? CT Crunch is
Yeah. Hey, and you
superior
know what? I
cereal.
would accept peanut butter Captain Crunch because that's my second favorite. Or no, I changed that. That would hurt the roof of my mouth, so I changed it to the Reese's peanut butter cereal.
Oh yeah, the Reese's Puffs.
Yeah, Reese's Puffs. Yeah. You know what? I was getting these healthy. They're healthy. These protein drinks that would be like cinnamon flavored, caramel flavored, and then the other day, well, it was a while back. I poured it into a bowl of the Reese's Puffs, and that was so delicious. And not too bad, I guess, because there's no sugar in that milk. But, all right. Well, yeah, I think that's it for that. Really quick, I wanted to show you guys. Okay, in the Discord, I have this welcome to Gundam lore questions and answers. So what this is supposed to be is to put any questions about the Gundam universe, not like the AMA stuff, I guess, like that's for the Patreon or whatever. Because what I want to do is ask questions that, yeah, then I will potentially do videos about. Like they could be their own videos, or it could be, a section on a podcast. But also
Well, a good example would be like the video that you just did about the UMP.
Yeah, that's right. You and I were just chatting, and you brought that up, and I was like, "Oh, that needs to be a video," and that is part of lore. So when I would do some lore, or when I would do some trivia stuff, I would grab from that. And so, if you have any questions that have to do with lore, drop them in here. This is anyone, so it's not like Patreon or anything. So, yeah, it's called Gundam Lore Questions, but stuff about lore. And I want to say there's a couple in here.
And
yeah,
some
Neon Wave.
Dagoth Wave I see in there.
What's that?
And some Dagoth Wave down in there. The Dagoth meme.
Oh, this?
Yeah, Dan Vince. Shout out to
I don't know
Dagoth
what that
Wave.
Is that?
It's a Elder Scrolls 3 meme.
Oh.
I'll send
Never
you the
played.
link after the stream.
Okay.
You'll appreciate it.
Okay. But no, Neon Wave was saying, why would Shiro from 08 That Mess Team be in love with a woman he only met once and announce his love the second time they've met? Did Aina feel the same way before Shiro confessed to her? Now, that's a good question. I don't know if that's necessarily like trivia based, but I just found it interesting because it didn't seem like she did. I don't think she cared, but I think it's more of her realizing Shiro loved her, in turn made her feel for him. And maybe if they were both new types potentially, that attraction brought them in more, if that was the case. Because I think she was stuck because she looked up to her brother, but her brother was doing things she didn't like. And
Well, and it's always hard when you're in the position that that Aina is in as a person. It's like any type of expression of compassion or care that people give you, you double back because it's like, well, is this person trying to just get something out of me?
Yeah.
And for a while, he kind of was. Shiro was just trying to use her in order to survive the situation that they were in. They were stuck on that abandoned ship.
yeah.
There's something to be said about like surviving a near-death experience with someone. Like obviously you grow closer.
And she even tried to shoot him. And he was trying to use non-lethal combat to take her down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, there's some other stuff in here I'll be making videos about, but if anyone has any questions that they want to throw in here, again, it's at the Discord, link in the description, QR code sometimes pops up. Yeah, and you could just, jump into there for that. Okay, so something else I wanted to, real quick, is this looks sick. They're doing the Psycho Doga high grade, which I would totally get that.
Yeah.
I feel like these suits are underrepresented, like the Doga, that kind of era. I mean, everyone loves the Sazabi, the
Yep.
new Gundam, but I feel like those other suits don't get that much love. And I think they're unique looking too, even though you can see the legacy and the evolution of other suits, but they still have a unique look, almost like a super. I don't know what I'm trying to say. You know, like that little helmet it's got. It's almost like it's
Yeah.
giving itself that regal. It's like wearing the regalness on its sleeve in a way. Very cool looking. Okay. So also what was pretty neat is in GBO2 they announced the RGM 96XS Jesta, but the Shazar type, but specifically they said type B or something. Now what's interesting is these are from Gundam Narrative, so that means that's how far GBO2 isn't. I'm sure Zionic Shadow can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the furthest they've gone in GBO2 is all the way to Narrative, which is 100, right? Or 101?
Narrative, I think, is 97.
Oh, okay.
It's still prior to Hathaway, but
Yeah, prior to Hathaway. Yeah, I know it's prior to Hathaway, but okay. But I think it's cool that they've gone that far because it makes me think then they might go to Hathaway. I just cannot see a Penelope. I cannot see a Penelope in GBO2.
would that be our first 800 cost?
Yeah, 1,000. It would have to be, and it would probably only be in space. I mean, it could be on ground. I just can't see them. I just can't see any map. You would get stuck trying to navigate around boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, you know what? Sayla just said something interesting. Hey, at least she put the effort into trying to kill him instead of a mere threat like Hiro did to Relena. So those came out not too far from each other, right? Isn't
You
it
know
almost
what?
the same year?
I'm gonna try that with my wife tomorrow. I'm gonna say I'll kill you is Gundam for I love you.
Yeah, but that's a good point she made. Let's see. Yeah, they made it GBO2. Anything is possible. Yeah, that's what's cool about GBO2. So going back to this real quick, we've seen the Jesta, and the Jesta's really cool. So they have this. Yeah, there was like a Team A, which looks sick because it has like that extra like wing binder sticking out the top, and then this B and C, which it looks like they have more like tactical gear going on. Let's see. Sometimes they'll say when it's like first seen, but no. And then let's see. Vulcan pod, system hand grenades, some of the same weapons we see. Capture gun. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's why it had the special. I guess that means, yeah, this is all coming together now because the Jesta was made as a support unit anyway. Team B and C meant for maybe the B type or C type, but the C packs and B, of the what was that Gundam called? The new Gundam without the armor, the Narrative Gundam.
There's a Narrative, yeah.
Name of the, but okay, so it's all coming together. Like they really do these. I like how they don't explicitly say it unless they do. They're like, hey, you see these mobile suits? They're specifically the support that's going to go out with this Gundam. Wink, wink, lore. But I end up finding it out just by reading. Yeah, as part of Operation Phoenix Hunt. Yeah. That's what
I don't think they mentioned that about the original Jestas. The fact that the original Jestas were supposed to serve alongside the Unicorn Gundam as like an escort team.
Yeah, I found that out later.
Yeah,
it was like these things look sick. Let's research them. I like how it has its own, like it needs its own like telescope or binocular, like when they could just build it into the head, I don't know. It looks cool though.
When you get down to it, it's like they have scopes on the machine guns.
Yeah, I know.
Like
yeah.
And
the Zaku 2s are even like looking in it.
And then they lift the scope up to the mono eye like it's a. I don't.
You know what? I wonder though. We laugh, but what if there's an explanation like it's supposed to help with any Minovsky density? It's almost like an external device used to help. I don't know. That could be it.
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
Okay.
I can't refute that claim, so I'm.
But man, they are sick-looking suits, especially with these. Which are they Gyaradogas or they're Gyrazulus? Gyrazulus,
Yeah,
right?
it looks like some Zulus.
Yeah, those are great designs. Like, it's too bad that Narrative it's not that narrative is bad, but it's just kind of like a. But it has 6 suits in it. You know.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I think most people think that the design of the Sinanju Stein is a little cooler than the straight up Sinanju.
Yeah, I hear that a lot too.
Yeah.
And I think I agree. I mean, the Sinanju just looks like a good Char clone mobile suit. It's like do it all up, red and everything. But the Sinanju Stein has that more grounded look to it. Yeah, that's for sure.
For sure.
Let's see. Well, I think that just about does it. I'm gonna move this over here. Well, Steven, anything else to add that we haven't talked about?
Not that I can think of. I know that there's a lot of fun stuff going on in GBO2 right now. I think there's a free 10
holiday
pull promo
campaign
going on there. So anybody who hasn't logged in this week, go in there and get your free 10 pull.
I need to log in. I have not logged in. I've been playing this game Evil West. For you gamers out there, Evil West is fun. It is I beat it. I've already started my new game plus. Also, the Warhammer Darktide, that multiplayer, that is sick. Awesome music. I love how they do world building in those Warhammer games. Really good. Let's see. Robert's saying smooth transition once more. Yeah, that's one thing I figured out to do with the software is how to do those smooth transitions. Now I just got to figure out how to fix the audio.
Slick.
Jedi
probably
Sailor
something I'm
saying,
doing.
"Oh, what's that?"
I said it's probably something I'm doing on my end.
No, I don't think so, Steven. When we do your streams, they are always of high quality. No technical issues. But anyway, Jedi Sailor saying, Star Wars, I love you. I know. Gundam, I'll kill you. I know. Hard eyes. That's a good comparison. Lucas Garrett, the Gestaline is a great raiding party mobile suit to use. Just see what Londo Bell did with them in Unicorn. Yeah. That's what's cool about Unicorn is that you really have awesome supporting suits and technology. Yeah. Well, cool. Well, no, thanks, guys. A lot of fun again with all the stuff that's coming. Please, if you want to add some lore questions, and I think of it as like you just have a question about the Gundam universe that you don't understand, like why is this way or who did that? And I think it would be cool if I would do the research, and they might either be answered on the live streams or I would do separate videos. But eventually, I'm going to gather all these. I have a master list Excel sheet that I'm going to build up a trivia thing and then start doing trivia next year. And then, Steven's stuff, links in the description, because, we hang out with him on Wednesdays. He schools me in Gunpla, customizing. It's pretty fun stuff. And we talk about so much, like childhood. We talk about movies. But it's centered around Gunpla and customizing, so it's a lot of fun. Anything else, Steven? I think that's it.
No, definitely. If you're interested, check out the Patreon for movie night because I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's right. So by this weekend, I will for sure have the movie and the date that we're going to do it. So, yeah, stay tuned for that. But, thanks, everyone. We will talk later.
Cheers.